to see you, Saravanan. Good to see you. Of
Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that.
course, my pleasure. Happy
Yeah,
to be
I
here.
really wanted to start this with, I know a lot of people know who you are, but why don't we start where, maybe just introduce yourself, what do you do? And then I'd like to go to the beginning, before you are who you are in SEO and all that, your background and all that. So why don't we get an introduction on what do you do, who you are, how would you introduce yourself?
All right. So how I introduce myself is just usually as a marketer. And as a marketer, the stuff that I deal with today is multiple things. So I have my own agency. I have Local Dominator, the rank tracker. On top of that, I own several home service businesses. And I have a bunch of other stuff in between. I also do coaching and helping, others that want to go in the same route as I did. Funny things, I was just a garage door technician.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
it,
I want to understand that. So this is good. So let's start from that. Even before that, like, you didn't go to school to become a garage door technician, did you?
no, I have not.
Okay.
Uh, when I went in school, so most of the stuff that I did was computer related. And then I thought I'm gonna be the next Jackie Chan. And, and I just fell in love with martial arts and Krav Maga, and I did that and Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu. And it was weird, but I left all of the computer stuff aside and I was just doing that. And then I was drafted to the military and I was doing that in the military. And then, got to the US when I was 22 or 23, right around May of '08. And back then I was doing some kiosks. I was working on a kiosk, selling some straighteners and flat irons, stuff like that. And
Hair straighteners.
yeah. See me selling a hair straightener. That wasn't a good look, I'll tell you this much. That
So,
was,
so you come to US from Israel 22, 23 years old, something.
sorry, say that again?
You come from Israel to US
Yes,
when you were 23, 24,
something like that. Yeah, almost
and
16, 17 years ago.
one of the first jobs is you're selling hairdresser, hair straighteners to women in US in a kiosk. Okay.
It was so funny. It was so bad. I remember those days. I mean, so imagine me, like I'm a guy just finished military, doing martial arts, all buffed, kind of like just want to beat up people. And then they put me on a kiosk, all gentle, trying to straighten women's hair to sell them straighteners. I mean, I was like, what's wrong with you people? Like, why am I here? And this was my beginning of a lot of things. This is actually, we have to look at our past to see where we are today, right? We always get to where we are in the present because of the past.
Mhm.
And it's a link of events that have happened. There was something that have happened there that have changed the course of my life. When, and I think you'll relate it to this. When I was at that kiosk, the stock was against me. The odds was against me.
Mhm.
My English was really bad. I didn't even know the product. I mean, what do I have to do? I was barely using like a soap for my body. I was just using a shampoo like that was gold. Like, you're a man from the military. I mean, you only need a little bit, and you definitely don't even know what creams are and hair care and so the event and the things that have happened have changed my life because it was a scenario that I had two options at the time. One option was to turn around and go back home. The other option was to never give up, never. The reason I say never, because I never gave up, and to push through. The first 3 months was the hardest I ever had. It was probably one of the worst time I ever had in my life because I was foreigner to everything. I didn't have a phone. I couldn't even communicate. Like everything was really bad. And I was struggling. I was really, really struggling. I mean, I
To
was
make
at a
money, struggling to make money.
yeah, like I was surviving on $100 a week. That was everything. My phone bill, food for the week, whatever. Like I was surviving on pasta and rice like throughout the week, and all of those things. And dollar menu was my best friend. And what happened, and the reason my life has changed, is that after 3 months of working, couldn't produce even one sale. And the day that I decided I'm done was the day that I've also decided, I guess my subconscious mind have decided that I'm not done and this is just the beginning. So now that I'm talking to you, like I'm really realizing that it was my sub mind and my subconscious mind, my aware mind and my subconscious was really going at each other, and each had their own little vision. And long story short, I went to the kiosk and I left it at the middle of the day because I was like, this is my last day. I'm done after 3 months of not, think about it this way. So run on 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, not making one sale for 3 months.
Not one hair,
Not even one, I mean, not even $50 worth of a sale. So like I was just trying and trying, I couldn't understand. And then something happened. That was the day. There was a couple of events that have changed my life. This was one of them. When I left the kiosk, I was bored. And I didn't have anything to do because back then we didn't even have phones, right? So long story short, after a few hours, the manager found me and he was like, why did you leave the kiosk? He was yelling at me, go back. And I was so bored that I was like, you know what? At least I'm going to burn a few hours before my shift is over. So I'll go back to the kiosk. And I was just standing there, bored out of my mind. And then I saw this beautiful lady pass by. And I was like, I have nothing else to do. I'm not going to try to sell her. Might as well try to talk to her so I can kill those couple of hours that I have left. And I remember I looked at her and she was far away and I offered her that sample and whatnot. And she came along, sat on the kiosk, and I didn't know even how to handle her. So like I try to put the hair clip up and it falls, and I put that and nothing works. And she sees that I'm an amateur and she's laughing and stuff. And she's telling me whatever stories. And I look at her as like, you're so beautiful, you don't need this.
You said
And
that.
I said that,
You said to her, you don't need this.
I told her, you don't need that. You're so beautiful, you don't need that stuff. And she was enjoying, she was having a good time. And then there was like hair extension on the kiosk. She was like, let me try that. I was like, I don't even know how to put it on, and you don't need that because you're looking so cute. Long story short, I was not trying to sell her. She was, I don't think she was planning on making any purchase, but eventually she made a purchase of a couple $1,000s because I wasn't trying to sell her. Because I was like, this, you don't need this. You don't need this. She was like, I want that, like I was reverse engineering that. Went back home. It was like, what just happened? I remember I was sitting on my bed, which was, by the way, back then was a mattress on the floor, not even a bed. And I was like, what happened? And I did have coffee. I was like drinking my coffee and thinking. And I was like, I didn't try to sell. And she just purchased like the largest amount that I've seen in 3 months. What just happened? And then it clicked. Then everything clicked. From that moment on, I was flying through like the sales. Like the next month, I became the #1 seller in the company. I moved to another company, it was the best one. Then started my own, and my life just went up like exponentially from that moment because I
So
realized.
what this happened? What do you explain when you say what that happened, right? Like what was the reason you suddenly took off? Just because you stopped selling? Is that what it was?
It's not. So I always say, right, it's not me, it's my actions, right? When I change the actions, I change the outcome. Before, what I was trying to do, I was trying to hard sell. And I was like, because I was really trying to sell. But then I realized that it's not, you don't force the person to sell. You have to smooth it in. You have to nonchalant your sell. You have to look like you don't really care. And I understood that if I'm not going straight for the kill from a mile and I get closer and closer and closer, then I can anchor that person and I can get that sale done. So my actions, the way I was approaching the sale has changed. And that was the biggest thing, because I wasn't trying to hard sell. I was trying to smooth in the sale, getting a couple of compliments, create a small talk, build a rapport, build that connection with that person, and then go for the sale, versus just buy, because that's what I thought it is, right? And that was the biggest change. Now the question is, how did I get from that to do what I do today? Well, one day we were sitting at the house, and then one of my buddies was like, "Hey, I want to do locksmiths. Can you help me getting some leads?" You know, he said, "I know you do computers." It's like, "Yeah, let me see." Now this was back at 20, maybe 15 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And back then, as you know, Google AdWords was beautiful. And I did a funny landing page that took me 20 minutes to do, ran a campaign, and little did I know, the next day the phone goes off and whoa, like things are flying off the shelf, and like, you know, now we have leads. So that was pretty cool.
So you're basically, even though you studied computers, you were doing kiosk stuff, and then one day your friend says, "Give me leads, you're a computer guy." He doesn't know you're not ads or SEO, none of that stuff. He just said you're a computer guy, right? Because you studied computers.
Yeah.
And then you put up a landing page. Okay, awesome. So, and then what happens then? So you saw the leads coming in, and then your mind says, we should look into this more.
So no, not yet. So back, he connected me to another friend that also wanted leads in Chicago. So that guy speaks, like calls me and says, "Hey, I want leads for garage door. Can you help me?" And that time I was looking to shift. I was looking to move from what I was doing. So I was like, you know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll build a website. I'll get you the campaigns. I'll do yada, yada, in exchange of you teaching me the trade. So he flew to Arizona, and that was 2016 or 15, something. I can't remember the
And
dates.
he's also a locksmith?
No, so he was doing a garage door. He was doing, and I really liked that. I didn't like the locksmith stuff. I looked into that. I didn't like it. And I was doing like for a little bit, but I didn't like it. But I really like to work with my hands. I'm a geek, but I'm also a very mechanical guy. Like, let me build stuff. So I was looking at the garage, and I was looking like a really nice business. So the trade that I did is I'll help him to get leads. In exchange, he will teach me to do to become a garage door guy. He came to Arizona for several weeks, and he was teaching me the trade. I did everything for him as far as the leads that he needed. And then now I had my own garage door company. Isn't that cool? Now I was doing my own SEO, obviously. So I started to do SEO, and then I was like really going with the leads of like the maps. And then I had a map here, and I had a map here, and I had a map here. And, you know, the business took off. And now there's like a lot of, now I had a really nice garage door repair business, and I took over Arizona. I mean, it was at a point that it was, I went a little too far, but I was dominating the maps, and it was
And
crazy.
you had subcontractors or employees?
Yes and no. So from Monday to Friday, I had subcontractors. And Saturday and Sunday, I was doing the work myself because I was making 100% of the commission. So if I would go and I would sell somebody for $1,000, I just made $1,000 that day.
Right.
So middle of the week, I would sell the leads like to a subcontractor. And the weekend, I would work the leads. And then this way, I still had a grasp of the business. I was making money from both ways. And I had enough time to do the SEO, not stress of like working when there's a lot of traffic and stuff like that. And I was just getting like the good leads of the weekend. So that was really cool. And then something had happened. That was another life event.
Okay.
Day on a Saturday or Sunday, I go to this guy, rich, like the money is dripping out of his ears.
Okay.
I mean, a mansion. You know, I remember this, how I got a little goosebumps. I'm telling you that story. I had a mansion. So I'm working on the ladder, you know, it's a really tall door. And the guy's like, the guy that is doing your marketing is really good. Like, who is this guy? And I was like, that's me. It's like, what do you mean it's you? I was like, yeah, that's me. He looks at me, he's like, get here, get down from the ladder. We're gonna go have coffee. Now, mind you, I'm sweating, my hands are dirty, I'm all like working in the garage, and the guy want to have coffee with me. All right, well, the guy's a millionaire about my age. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen. I left everything. I was like, what do you have to say, sir? You know, like somebody want to give me knowledge and they are where I'm trying to be, I will listen.
Absolutely.
Like he didn't have any, like he didn't want to get anything from that. So we are sitting in his kitchen office, and he's telling me, sharing like what he did and how he built his wealth and yada, yada, yada. And then he moved to tell me that I need to start focusing on working with my hands and working with my head, and do stuff that have more leverage and do things that are scalable, and start doing this for other people. So when he enlightened me that I need to start doing this for other people, and this way I will have scale, this was the day that I was like, okay, now I gotta find my first client, right? How do you find your first client? So I had that vision that this guy gave me. So I need to stop thinking small and just do that weekend job and do those things, and now getting more clients. And long story short, somebody found me that also had a garage door repair business, and he wanted to have what I have. So I was like, all right, here's what I can do for you. It's going to be 1,500. Let's start. This was my first client.
Your first SEO client. You did SEO for him.
My first SEO client was a garage door repair business, and he was paying
me. When was this?
Sorry?
What year was this?
I think mid 2016, 17, something like that. Now he's still my client, by the way.
Really?
Which is
wow.
really cool. Yeah, his business is amazing. I mean, in his area, he is
dominating.
Yeah, he's almost at the glass ceiling. Now we're working on his more brands and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, and now he's also looking to start the agency. So that's a funny thing. He's just going after my footsteps. Right. So now I'm teaching him. He took my course and all that stuff. So that was the day that things have really changed, because now I had my garage door repair business, and then I had my little tiny marketing agency that I just started. Then things move from there. So now you get another client and another client, and now I was like, whoa. So I got this. Like, what's going on in here? I got two businesses. And then there was another life event around. I remember it was like the pandemic area. I was like 2019 or so. So around 2019, I had to take a decision. What do I want to do with myself? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with the business? Do I want to keep and grow the garage? Do I want to keep and grow the agency? What do I want to do? So I've decided that I kind of want to grow them both, but I have to do it strategically. So I didn't have any partners back then. And I decided I want to bring a partner for the garage door repair so I can scale that business. Somebody needs to manage that day to day. I don't want to do it all. So I've added a partner to that business.
You still have a business?
I still have that business. Yes, it's still running. I added that guy in that free up the time that I needed to do to work on the agency. Now, while this was going, I was doing two things. So I was now servicing the garage door as my client. So now I was already making that little exchange, little delta in the difference that I was making, because now he was my client. That business has become client, not retail, but still I was making some. And I started to bring on clients. Then I realized that I have a problem. I could not exceed, I was right around like 10 to 15 clients, like around that 12, 15K a month. I couldn't superb that. No matter what I tried, didn't work. I was sitting at in my house, and I was like, how am I going to do this? What's going on? Right. Then I realized that first, I need to get myself a goal. And if I have a goal, now I got to find a plan. So I set the goal for $100,000 a month. And the funny part is that I shared that in a group, in a coaching group that I did, and everybody was laughing at me. It's like, I got to do it. And I was like, you just wait. You just wait. You just give me more motivation. And, I was visualizing like that moment, and I knew it's going to happen. And all I had to do is to figure how. How do I handle all the challenges that I have? And when I figure out, analyzing other marketing agencies, that I was walking barefoot. I was the shoemaker that walks barefoot. And in a way, I didn't have marketing for my own company. That was the thing. And I also think, how many marketing agencies do you know that doesn't have marketing?
Up until a year ago, it was me too. Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
If we're a marketing agency, what is the first thing we need to market?
Yeah.
Our own marketing agency, but we never do so. It's crazy. So I realized that. And when I realized that, now it was obvious. Now it was easy to handle because I knew what I need to do. So I drafted a plan, and I was looking for a way to be different. And when I was looking for a way to be different, I wanted to be at a point where if somebody sees me, they remember, it clicks in their mind. It's like, what can it be? The long story short, talking to somebody once, he said, I'm a mathematical whiz. And then I was like, wait, if he's a mathematical whiz, I'm a local whiz. And then everything started. Now I got a brand. Now I got the name. Now, how do I make this different? All right, I got to go purple. And this was like back 2019 or so. Like purple wasn't even a big thing back then. Like purple just became a thing in the last 2 years, I think, maybe 3. So like I had purple colors. It was different. Everybody was blue. If you remember, like there was a lot of bluish colors. And then I was like doing those videos with this big hat, like big hat, like the wizard hat, and the theme and the website. And I was doing surrealistic images. We didn't have AI. So when we were doing those surrealistic images,
Photoshop and put it together.
yeah. So we were doing like Photoshop, and like I was thinking, how can I make this surrealistic? Today with the AI, it's like 2 minutes. But then we had to think about the ideas. We had to like, my guys had to Photoshop it and do it. It was a lot of hard work. But creating that surrealistic images, creating that brand of the wizard, the purple, and everything start clicking. And then I started creating content, right? I was creating ads. I was doing that. I was working on my referrals. And then it was like fire at a field. It was so bad. Like, say what?
The momentum kicked in, right?
Yeah, the momentum that kicked in. I just said, so it wasn't so bad. It was so good that there was 1 month. In that month, there was 1 week that we were supposed to onboard like 10 new clients, and we couldn't. We just failed to onboard them, and then we had to cancel and refund their money and some of it. Well, that got me another lesson that you should only eat what's in your plate. We can talk about this in a little bit too, because I have a lot of.
So all this time, you're growing your agency now, you're bringing the clients. Are you actively involved with the garage door, or is that your operator, your partners doing that?
So the partners was doing the garage. They were taking care of all that stuff.
Okay, and you're focusing on growing an agency. You're doing the branding, the ads, the fulfillment. Okay, got it. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So I was doing that. And then I started to build my internal team. Things started to move. And then, all of a sudden, after 6 months, now we do $50,000 in monthly recurring. Another couple of months, now we do 75. It was 80. Then we did 100, and then we got to 120.
Wow.
So, I mean.
And so let me ask you this one question before you go on. As you went from this 40K, 50K to 120K, what were the different ways you were getting clients? What was the best way of your client acquisition?
So I think, there are 2 phases to this question. The first phase the answer for phase one is when you start, when you're at the beginning, you know, you don't have a lot of clients. So the most lucrative client acquisition when it's still small, in my mind, is referrals. The reason behind it is you don't need to do a lot to get referrals, but your ROI on those is very high and your retention is usually very high. More than that, they're usually easier to onboard because they come from a warm connection. If you're my friend and I send you to work with Joe, you already going to like Joe because I sent you to work with Joe. So if Joe says something, you will look at what Joe says as the right thing instead of looking at it with grain of salt out of the gate because you don't know him. Like you already have that trust, right? So I think that in the beginning, you need to utilize the network to get more clients. The second thing, once you have that, the better and more lucrative was actually from ads. Ads are freaking beautiful, beautiful. I just spoke to somebody yesterday that I've been training on doing ads, and he is killing it with ads. Now, the thing is, you don't have to spend a lot of money. That's the thing. People are afraid of ads because I got to spend a lot of money. It's not true. You can start with $15 a day.
15?
Yeah, $20 a day. I mean, if somebody wants it and they don't have it, they should Uber. So now they have those extra $500 for ads. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you spend, let's say, $500 a month and you get one client, just one, you are already ROI positive. You agree? Like, because you're not gonna get a client for 1,500. It's gonna be, let's say, 1,000 or 200, 2,000, or so you're gonna be positive. The thing is, with ads, and I know for a fact that one of the things that scares a lot of people is that they think that if they, let's say, put $1,000 in ads, they should get $100,000 back from that. Or if they spend let's say they spend $1,000 in ads and they got 100 leads, they think they need to close 10 of them, but it's not the case. It's really not the case. If you got 100 leads and you closed one and you are positive, then you are golden. The rest of them was maybe spam, was maybe not relevant. It doesn't matter. And the reason I share this is because I've seen scenarios when you run ads, and I've done this for a few people, and they start freaking out after, a couple $100 that, the ad account was throwing.
This is gold. This is gold. So, no, this is gold. No, I appreciate that. So you're basically saying if somebody listening to this is brand new, 0 to 10K a month, go focus on making sure you can deliver your promise on SEO or whatever fulfillment, get results, right? Get some referrals going, go from the 0 to 10K, maybe 20K. But then after that, ads will add fuel to the fire.
Ads is crazy because you can just crank up the volume as much as you want. So when we were running ads back then, I'll share this with you right now, like with everybody listening. The most amount that we have spent on ads was like $3,500 a month. More than that, we couldn't handle the amount of leads. So you see where I'm going?
Was ads pretty much the main driver to take you from 30, 40, 50K to 120K?
No, I don't think I had a main driver. I really had, so I have 4 ways that I get clients, and it was really divided almost equally among 4 of those ways because I was moving my attention to create a balance all the time. So if I noticed that I get too much from ads, I would reduce the amount and I would create more balance with the other sources because you cannot rely on ads. My ad account got suspended back in November and it was down for 6 months. Imagine that 80% of your revenue comes from ads. What do you do? You're just like waiting to die. So I knew my ad account can get suspended every day. So I was never 100% reliant. It was always an act of balance. So my way is my personal network, which we kind of talked about before. The goal with a personal network is to get referrals and get from that. Cross-selling, which is huge, meaning if you have a client that paid $2,000, you need to get that client to pay $5,000. That's the easiest way on the planet to increase your revenue.
So you've got an SEO client. What do you sell? Ads? Do you sell anything else?
Whatever I want. So if I have an SEO client, I can sell him ads. I can sell him email marketing. I can sell him go high level. I can sell him on double down on the SEO. Let's open up another website. Let's open up another listing. So I can double down on that person.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I think this is one of the biggest thing that 80%, 90% of the marketers don't do. They do it. And that's cool. It's money that is waiting for you to grab. Like the guy's already working with you. If you are a marketing agency and somebody hire you, what is your job? Essentially, what is our job? To help them do what?
Better ROI for them.
Exactly. To help them to get ROI, to grow their business. So if I'm already growing his business and I call Joe and be like, Joe, your business went up 30% since we started to work. I have another idea. It's going to cost you, let's say, another $1,000 a month. And here's what I'm going to do. Is he going to say no?
It's going to say, yeah, do it. Because he knows that $1,000 is going to bring him $10,000 back.
Exactly. There is no way he's going to say no. I already proved that I know what I do. I already got all the stuff that needs to be done. And you don't do it on the first month. You wait 4 months, 6 months. You wait for the moment.
Right.
So the cross-selling is huge.
Right.
So we had the what was it? The personal network, the cross-selling, running ads, and referrals. These are my four core that I rely on, and it's just beautiful. It works. It works.
So, do you have in your agency 1 or 2 or 0 salespeople to take those leads and sell those clients? How does that work? You have salespeople.
It was one. But now I don't, because we're at a different stage of the agency and there's no room for a salesperson. I just man, this is another conversation, but I've realized that there's the law of diminishing return. And when I did get to that 120, the law of diminishing return came to me and say, hey, I'm here, buddy. How you doing? And it's like, whoa, what do you do? What do you want? Long story short, that law wanted what the law wanted, and he wanted his cut. Long story short, when you grow a business, your expenses go up, different things go up. What I realized that if I bring down the agency, I would make more money. So I was a different stage. The first stage that I was to grow my bottom line revenue. That was my first thing. I wanted to grow my bottom line revenue. The second thing I wanted to do is to optimize for profit. Sorry, the first thing was to grow the top line revenue. Sorry to think of the next thing. The first thing was to grow my top line revenue. That was the 120 at the peak. And then the second thing was now to optimize for profits. When you optimize for profits, you realize that sometimes you make more money when you have less revenue. And let me explain you why. Less revenue means less team, means less software. It means less resources that needs to be spent. It means less success conversations that you have to do. A lot of the infrastructure, when I was doing that shift, was really, really bad. And when I was there, I realized that if I want to become profitable again, I have 2 options. One, I go to the next tier. I need to go to 150, or I go down to 80. Now, I know it's a big drop. However, I was making more money when I was, where we're at today, which is around that 80, versus when I was at 120, because I was optimized for profits. I don't need as much software. I didn't need to pay for more people to manage the people that manage the people that manage the people. Like less layers. It was less complicated.
How many people in your agency right now?
There's about 30-ish.
All in Philippines, outsourced.
There is 20 or 21, I think, in the Philippines. Okay. We got 2 guys in Canada. Marina is in the US. Lisa is in Israel. Mel is in Spain.
Okay, so you got a how much of your time every day goes into agency work? Maybe managing, maybe looking over whatever, stuff like that.
I think it's not really a fair question.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because you put more time where your focus is at. And right now and today, me personally, my focus is a little bit on different stuff. So I think that the best to answer that is like how much of my time was going when I was going all in my agency. When I was going all in my agency, I was putting anywhere from 40 to 70 hours a week in my agency. I was working very hard all day long. All I care for was that.
As you're growing up to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Today, the reason the question is a little bit not fair because today we have team in place and there's managers and there's people that do a lot of the stuff that I was doing as a business owner. For example, like billing, right? So I got somebody looking at some billing, different things that today I don't do as much as I used to do. But when all you do is an agency work and all you do is growing your agency, and that's the only thing you have to bring bread, you're all in. You're just, you're elbows deep. Maybe you should be people should be neck deep. And that's what I was.
Yeah. So then you have your agency, you understood, okay, you want to bring it from 120, 130 back to 80K. That's a sweet spot for you. After that is when you started your software?
Kinda, yeah. So what happened with the software is that Michael Raber and I was talking, and long story short, we were doing this coaching thing, it was like a couple of years ago, and we kind of needed it for ourselves because the tools out there wasn't good enough. It was too expensive. It was not accurate. And Michael was like, "Hey, do you think you can do it?" Because I had the background, I already had some stuff. I was like, I think I can. And long story short, from that, now we have Local Dominator. It only started just to service.
We use the software. That's awesome software. That software has closed a few clients for us. That's how it is.
Sweet. So the software kind of started because of our own need. And then, I was like, okay, now I got to invest in that because I see it's working. People like it. So let me put some more time into that. So that's kind of like how this rolled down. And today it's taking a lot of my attention. It's taking a lot of my attention. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great resource. So you have your agency, you have your software. You're one of the few marketers I know who also run more than one, like small businesses, local. You don't only help a local business with your agency, but you have your own local business. You have your garage door business, but you have an HVAC business.
And plumbing.
Is that one company, or is HVAC separate, plumbing separate, or HVAC and plumbing is one?
It's a one company. It's a one company.
And that's in one city, LA, right?
No, that's another state. That doesn't matter.
Another state. And you said that's also run by another partner.
Correct. So I got partners that's taking care of all that stuff. My agency service that business as a client, obviously not the same prices, right? But we are treating it as a client. So essentially, I'm getting both ends of the stick, right? So I'm making money from the home service business, which is the plumbing and HVAC, but I also make money as the agency that provide the fulfillment for that.
See, that's something I always talked about. I never jumped into it, right? I mean, I have more experience in the tree. I got a lot of these tree. That's how I started with tree removal, tree service, right? I always want to start my own or partner with some tree company, but I have a few like 15% and like a growth partner and percentage of revenue, but I'm not like on paper partner, right? So in your case, are you involved in the day-to-day or how much are you involved with that HVAC and plumbing business?
So I'm not as involved. The day-to-day, almost none. The only thing that I'm involved in the day-to-day is to look at reports, see how many leads got in, how much money was collected, things of that sort. It's important to understand that in the past, I also did a lot of like revenue share, where I used to just get revenue from the top and stuff like that.
Right.
But those was not like partnerships or you're an actual part of the business. This particular business, I own the business. I'm on the business documentation.
Hmm.
So, for example, if the business needs to be sold tomorrow, it has to be approved by me as well. Like they cannot, like I'm on the bank account.
Did you start, you and your partner started this business from scratch, or did you have the business and you started from ground up?
Yes.
And so this partner had some HVAC background?
Not really, not really.
Okay.
So we brought the partner had, one of them had some experience, but it was never a plumbing, I was never a plumber or anything of that sort. We just brought a plumber. You just create a business and you just bring a plumber.
Right, yeah.
I guess you don't have to, if you want to eat, you don't have to be a chef. Let's put it that way. So I can just hire somebody to cook for me. Same thing.
The skill that you have is you can generate customer leads for any business, right? So you just went to HVAC plumbing, okay? You went because if the barrier to entry is not low, is there a reason why you went for HVAC plumbing and not something else?
At the time, I was looking for a business that the barrier to interest is very hard.
It should be hard. You're looking for something hard.
Okay. Let's look it up for a second. So a lot of time people get into businesses that are easy. Power washing. I see a lot of people going to that. Power washing, trees, landscape, locksmiths. That's why there were so many. It used to be, or so many Israelis locksmiths, because the barrier is zero. You go to Home Depot, you spend $500 on tools, and you're in business. I was looking for longevity, and when I was looking for big numbers, I was looking for something that the barrier to interest is hard. So if James tomorrow want to start a business, he's going to have to jump through a lot of loops to be able to be in that game with me, right? You have to go for licensing. So you got to get some money. There's a lot of stuff in order to start those type. Somebody want to be an electrician. Somebody want to open electrician business, right? Electric business. You have to go through the trades. You got to do the licensing. It's not, see, like when somebody doing a pressure washing, this is why, in my mind, there's no money in leads for those as well, because it's something that everybody can just start tomorrow. So when I was looking to utilize the competitive advantage that I have, I was like, where would that competitive advantage be utilized the most, and where would it give me the most return on my time? That was the things that I was looking to do, and that was the answer.
Awesome. So you have an agency, you have a software, you have a couple of these small businesses. What else do you have? Do you have a life? Just kidding.
I got a wife. No, I got a baby. Yeah, these are the stuff that I have, and just trying to help people along the way.
No, I mean, I've known you about a year probably now. You're one of, they say, right, some people come for a reason, some people come for a season, right? You're one of those guys. It's a long-term relationship. I truly appreciate that. One last question. Where do you see yourself 3, 4, 5 years down the road in terms of you personally? Also in terms, if you want to talk a little bit about SEO, where is it going, or what do you think you want to do along those lines?
Sure. So personally, I have quite a bit of goals and quite a bit of accomplishments that I'm looking to do. I won't share a lot of them, but I will share that I'm looking to be at a point where I enjoy what I do. I do what I do because I love it, and it's fun. And I don't have to be stressed or necessarily stressed, but I don't have to be thinking about different things that I am today. And what I wish for myself in a few years is to remember the days that have brought me to where I'm at, and to be able to be at a point where I can just help to a lot of people just without need to collect anything, just to be at a point where I can just help. My biggest dream is to somehow be a philanthropist at some point in my life, which I really hope. I got goosebumps from that. Like, I really hope that it's going to happen. So in the next 5 years, I really hope that I'll be able to get to myself to a point where I'll do consistent like charity work and like community work, and not need to do a lot of the stuff, a lot of the work hours that I do today. That's also why I'm working very hard. People are always like,
you're a good man, and I deal with in this industry, I've seen a lot of people, all kinds of people. You're one of those few top 3, 4. I'm not just saying because I'm talking to you. Really, that's awesome.
thank you.
Good to know that.
Yeah. Now, where do I see the SEO? So SEO is dead. Nah, not.
Yeah.
No, the reason SEO is not dead, and it's not going to die. As they say, as long as there is search engines, there's going to be something to optimize. What have died is the old ways of optimization. So in my mind, where a door is getting closed, 2 more is open. We just had a leak from Google, 14,000 like ranking like volumes. I was going through this document. I was like, what? Like every little thing. Oh, this is ranking. This is good. This is good. So if we're not going to optimize the organic part of Google, we're going to optimize the AI output. If we're not going to optimize the AI output, we're going to optimize the ads. If we're not going to optimize the ads, we're optimize the new things Google is going to come up with. And if Google is going to die because the government tomorrow is going to say that Google is banned, then there's going to be Google too. Somebody's going to replace it, and we're going to optimize that.
Right.
There's always going to be something to optimize. And SEO as a whole is a moving train. It's flying, it's moving through a lot of things throughout time. There's always going to be changes. There's going to be stations. Each time that train gets to a station, there's a stop. There's a time to think. Now you go on another train, you optimize another thing, you optimize something else, you make little changes in what you do. But I think that the industry is far, far, far from being over or exaggerated.
It's evolving. I've been in, that's a good point. Thank you. I've been in this industry from 2014. It's always evolving. End of the day, we are playing Google's game by Google's rules. As the rules change, we have to, as far as we are ahead of it, we should be good,
Yeah.
But this is awesome, Eldar. I thank you for this. If you want any parting words, let me know. Do you want to say any parting last words?
No, just I want to thank everybody that put the time to watch. I really appreciate you put your time into this and watching us today. And I hope to interact, with whoever is watching this video, whatever, in the group or Facebook. And hopefully there was some information that was helpful. And just thank you. Thank you,
No,
Saravanan.
absolutely. And this is very inspiring. I mean, this is what people want to know. Very few people want to know, how do we do the GMB review or the post or the ranking, right? This is more inspiring. You went from not selling anything from the kiosk for 3 months to where you are now. That is inspiring, honest to God. Now, this is awesome. Thank you, Eldar. I appreciate that so much. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Saravanan. Bye-bye.